is that fire. I be that guy. My click won't stop. I'm a beast, roll, die. This is that fire. I be that guy. My click won't stop. I'm a beast, roll, die. Had this on lock since day one. All I care about is family and my day ones. Money, power, and respect be embedded in me. I don't care what you say, no one is better than me. Melanin be in my skin, so the page watch. Middle finger to the eyes and keep the semi-cocked. I'm the product of Wu-Pun, Big Pac. We don't gotta be cool, go kick rocks. Only ease the mind when I meditate. Pessimist at first, now I flirt with faith. I just know I'm special like a 38. Either island of a hill or see the pearly gates. You won't see me smile till there's gold in it. I'm just being real, don't stick your nose in it. You ain't trying to listen to this rose in it. You ain't trying to listen to this rose in it. Bottle of that juice, ain't made of Henny sweet. Bring the pump to your kin, this ain't trick or treat. Test me, I'ma put you in forever sleep. I'm your antidote, and I'm puffing on the remedy. Find me in the cut, test the melodies. Cause I don't like what they be selling me. I'm wishing good luck to my enemies. Y'all gon' be stuck with the jealousy. Tell them I said rest in peace. This is that fire. I be that guy. My click won't stop. I'm a beast, roll, die. This is that fire. I be that guy. My click won't stop. I'm a beast, roll, die.
Alrighty, let's get this show on the road. What's good, y'all? How's everybody doing? Sorry, had to take a couple of weeks off. Wasn't because we been getting our behinds dragged. Got a lot of other things going on. Welcome to Jets Fan Views. I am your host, Truth. This show is dedicated, obviously, to the New York Jets, but I do it from a fan's perspective. I don't get super analytical. I'm a true fan. I will watch, and I've watched every second of the last 2 weeks that we have got bludgeoned. Every second, every millisecond. I don't turn away. I watch it. I'm a fan. Let's get this party started. How's everybody? Sorry, long day. But we're going to get in here. We're going to get out of here. We're not going to spend too much time. But I definitely want to talk about the, that's not even the right score. That's last week's score. But let's put that up anyway. So, I would talk about it now. Jets came out real flat. San Francisco has a very good overall defense. But unfortunately, our team wasn't ready. And even though with the massive defensive line that San Francisco has, and with everyone getting hurt, we were unable to come up with anything really to answer the fact that almost every last one of their defensive players, starters, defensive ends, I'm not saying Hall of Fame, Pro Bowlers got hurt. We weren't able to take advantage of it, but it's pretty much a butt kicking. So let's jump into the this week, where last week we put up 13 points. This week we only managed to put up 7 points against Phillip Rivers and the Indianapolis Colts. We got manhandled on both sides of the ball. Donald, multiple bad decisions, pick six, pick in the end zone. Game could have been totally different. I don't want to blame Gates, but Gates, at the end of the day, is the head coach, and all blame goes on him. Not going to spend too much time on the games because I really want to spend this episode focusing on some other things. and that's Joe Douglas. But I do want to say the last game, you can tell, I don't know if the players, even though they came out and gave a vote of confidence, I don't think the players believe in the coaching staff anymore. Greg Williams or Adam Gase, defense with no names, really held down the season pretty much, kept us in a lot of games, didn't give up too many points. This year, it's not holding. Teams had plenty times or opportunities to pretty much hone in and focus on Greg Williams' defense over the offseason. And you can tell they're adjusted. And because we don't have the superstar players, we have good players. And you can tell it's really we were dealing with the fact of not having that and teams being able to readjust and us not having the opportunity to readjust. And Greg Williams is a man-to-man defensive coordinator, 4-3. We're one of the 3-4, and we're playing a lot of zone because we don't have the players on the defensive side of the ball to really play the style he really wants to play. On the offensive side of the ball, I do not think Donald is a bad quarterback. I'm not saying he's a Hall of Famer, but he's definitely not as bad as he's been shown. And a lot of that to me is because of the lack of offensive support that he does have. So by saying that, let's get straight into it. All right. Gave y'all a little preview. But let's get up to Joe Douglas. I think Joe Douglas will become a very good general manager. You look at where Joe Douglas has learned, what he learned from, and obviously you want to talk about the Hall of Famer Ozzie Newsome, who, I don't care about his color, I'm talking about his skill set, who's always got superstars via draft. That's what Ozzie has always done, and that's got superstars, Hall of Famers via draft. Didn't really pick up that many players via free agent. All the money has went into homegrown, re-signing your own players, putting quality on the field. And this is going to take time. And unfortunately for Jet fans, you have some people who just tired of dealing with the year after year after year problems and issues that we've been dealing with having general managers who don't want to pay the best cornerback in the freaking game since Deion Sanders. You really want to haggle with him over pennies. Or general managers who want to overpay for Le'Veon Bell and overpay for Johnson, the cornerback, who pretty much just robbed us. Now you have a general manager who's going to rebuild in the draft. You think he wanted to get rid of Adams? Of course not. Adams did what Adams wanted to do, to think and hope to try to get that little effort. But when you get offered that kind of deal to really build your team via draft, which is the way Joe Douglas was taught, you're going to jump on that. Look at all the picks we have in the next 2 years. For you guys to think that it was going to be rebuilt immediately, you done bumped your head. You just severely bumped your head. The Jets showed the lack of intelligence by letting another man make the draft and then bringing in a new general manager right after letting him do the draft, firing him. So it's going to take 3 years for Joe Douglas to finally get some really head steam going. And I said it in one of my first shows. We had Teddy Bridgewater on our team already, signed before we traded him. But no, we're thinking, Donald. And what do? We trade away all of our commodity. Trade away a quarterback that would have been dirt cheap, and he was already dirt cheap for the Carolina Panthers. He only signed for, $63 million? So you have Joe Douglas, who's continuously trying to clean up the mess he's been dealt, which is why he wanted a 5-6 year deal, because he knew how long it was going to take to turn around this franchise. It's not going to happen overnight, fellas and young ladies. It's going to be a 3-year process. Now, with next year draft coming up and us having the collateral and the ammo by having 2 first round, 2 second, all these picks we're going to have, to where in the first 3 rounds we're going to be able to get quality draft picks. He already showed you by rebuilding the offensive line. Mekhi Becton has already showed in the 2 games that he already played that he is a good player. And with the more time and effort he gets opportunity to be on the field, which hopefully he'll be able to play this Thursday, he'll get better and better and better. So you're already looking at, from what he's shown us already, as long as he can stay healthy, you can forget about the left tackle already. We're good. This makeshift, brand new offensive line has protected Donald way better. For as bad as Donald has played, he hasn't, leading up to Sunday's game, he only was sacked 5 times, which was in a way, not middle of the pack, but high above. That's really good that he was only sacked 5 times with the offensive line that we have now. And yes, all teams, not just us, are dealing with injuries, and it just goes to show you the importance of training camp and how next year all the guys are going to take that much more into season. You have all these hamstrings, you have all these ACL sprains and all these other things, and people are out for the whole season. Training camp and preseason is important, guys. I guarantee you next year, if we're willing to have that, you'll see the intimacy that's put in to where you're able to work a lot of things you weren't able to do it. So for these teams that have been together, like the Patrick Mahomes, and you just add one player here or another player there, these guys are hitting the ground running because everything's the same. And then you look at the Chiefs, where a lot of their picks are Pro Bowlers the last 3 years, which we gave up, those picks we gave up to get Darnold. And again, I think Darnold is a good quarterback. I don't think he's great. I don't remember a quarterback from USC ever being good in the pros. But I think he does have the ability to be a very good quarterback if you surround him with talent. I think Mims is talented, but unfortunately, dealing with injuries just like everyone else. Joe Douglas decided not to sign Robbie Anderson because of the off-field stuff and the amount of money he was asking for. And do I think that was a mistake? Time will tell, but I think when you look at the overall durability, Robbie Anderson to not miss games, yeah, hit us in the behind. So when you have wide receivers without talent that don't know how to separate themselves from the defenders, got to deal with problems and issues. All right? And you also have Adam Gates, who's an offensive coordinator who likes to do a lot of downfield stuff. I think the best system for Darnold is a West Coast, quick pass, get it out of his hands. Don't let him overthink. So, I believe Joe Douglas, in 3 years, will put a very strong team on both sides of the ball. This year, he showed you in the draft. He drafted Mekhi Becton. He drafted Clark, who's also injured, but is a very good tackle/guard. So what we have is a multiple of guys on the offensive line that can play multiple positions. So in the draft, you're going to tackle other things. Get Donald some players who can separate themselves from defenders, playmakers. Okay. Williams, our 3rd overall pick last year, is having a pretty good season so far. Week before last, 2 sacks. This week, a lot of being disruptive in the backfield. Sorry. So I think he's playing very good, very good. But a lot of people forgot when he got drafted, he only really started 1 year. Guy's 22, 23 years old. He's young. It's going to take time for that to develop. because he didn't get that much playing time when he was playing at Alabama. But again, I think he will become a very good player. So I want everyone to calm down. Bring it down. For you guys who thought we were going to Super Bowl and all this other stuff, and it's still early. So many teams are injured. You never know what can happen. Team might settle down. Do I think it's going to happen? I pray it does. But then again, you never know. Okay? Do I think Adam Gates is going to make it through week 5? Absolutely not. I think no matter what happens with Thursday game, I think Adams will I think Gates will have his last game this Thursday. If you're going to make a decision, that is the time to make it, where you have extra time, because we play Thursday, so we don't play Sunday, then we play the following Sunday. So we have an extra 3 or 4 days to deal with the fallout. I say you hand the team over to Greg Williams. You let him do whatever it is he wants to do. And the next year, you already saw the photo, you bring in a new coach with a new system, and you change things. You got to make it happen. But I do believe in our general manager. He believes, and that's the way he was taught, to rebuild through the draft, which means you don't go out there and overpay for players that played on other teams and other systems around other people, and then they come into here and they don't do anything. Homegrown people is where it's at. We're going into this year's draft, well, just your draft coming up, and we have some great picks in the first 3 rounds to get some talent, to get an edge rusher, to get some corners, and I still got to see what Hall does when he comes back from his injury, but I think we're not as bad off. You won't see the big superstar we paid to come play middle linebacker who opt out for us. I think he played the one game he played will be the last game he ever played for the Jets. You don't want to put that much money on a player that hasn't played in 2 years. You can spend the money someplace else, so he will get cut. Don't look for him. So we have a lot of picks to fill a lot of holes. And then we also have a first-round pick year after. So we'll have 2 first rounds. So in the next 3 years, we will have a mean team on the offensive and the defensive side of the ball to continuously put this quality on the field. So be patient, people. Be patient. So, and another decision that I would like the Jets to make that I think we're going to make. Okay, Eric Bieniemy, I think it's his time. The Jets need an offensive coordinator who has fire, but also still has some kind of youth. An actual former running back, been in the league a couple of years. This guy's out there in Kansas City with Mahomes and all those weapons they have. I believe this will be the Jets' new head coach going into the next year. Again, in order to get this guy, you're going to have to give him multiple years. And obviously, you're going to take all those multiple draft picks and you're going to have to build not just on the offensive side, not just on the defensive side, but on both sides of the ball. But I think Eric can come in and put in a system that will help Darnold out and not stifle him. Darnold needs to get the ball out of his hands quick. That is the type of quarterback he is. West Coast offense, you can also make down the field throws. Darnold has a very strong arm, can throw from a lot of different angles, and I'm not going to compare him to Mahomes at all, but if you take Mahomes' characteristics, strong arm, ability to throw on the run, can escape out of the pocket, athletic, but is not going to run a 4.3, and Darnold fits the same characteristics. So if you give this guy Darnold, I think he can change Darnold around. Now, do the Jets pick up Darnold's 5th-year option? I seriously doubt that's going to happen. But at the end of the day, you got to have Darnold prove something. So by doing this, you will have Darnold for his 4th and 5th year without us giving this super massive large contracts that are going to be handed out, which we can use to re-sign our own homegrown talent. So, my prediction for this week, again, fellas, ladies, I am a fan. I will never, under any circumstances, ever pick my team to lose. Again, so I see my team winning. The Broncos do not have the best of teams right now. I think they do have talent on both sides of the ball, but they do have some key players that are also missing the entire year on the defensive side and the offensive side of the ball. And also they're dealing with a backup quarterback. So I do see us finally getting our first win of the season, being 1-3. But I do not think that will save Adam Gase from being fired. This is the best time to do it, where you have extra time to work on it, because you will have Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and then 7 days from there to plan out and work things and change things around and get it comfortable, whether you hand the team over to Greg Williams and you just take the quarterback coach and you just elevate him to offensive coordinator. But you cannot continue to do this the rest of the year. It's early. You know it's not going to get better with Gates. You have to make a decision. And after Thursday's game, that is the time to make the decision. So I want to thank everyone for tuning in, everyone that's going to watch this. Again, have faith, okay? This man here, within the next 3 years, is going to put a monster team on field, people, okay? He had last year, we have this year with this draft, and next year. And I guarantee you, you will be talking about the playoff-bound New York Jets. All right, y'all. See y'all next week.